The front door clicked open with a whisper of silence. Dayo Adebayo stepped inside, his suitcase in hand, expecting the hum of the mansion, a laugh, a warm greeting. Instead, only stillness. From the second-floor landing came a soft, unmistakable man's laugh. Too familiar, too intimate. Dayo froze, his pulse hammering in his chest. He had returned early from Lagos, cutting short a business trip he thought would be uneventful. A shadow moved. Before he could react, a small, firm hand clamped over his wrist. "Please, don't say a word," whispered Tobiana, the housemaid, her eyes wide and urgent. Dayo's jaw tightened. The world around him blurred as she pressed a phone into his hand. "Just listen," she murmured. He did. "Hello guys, welcome to Ebony Billionaire Tales. Let's prove my girlfriend wrong and hit 1,000 subscribers. If you love African stories filled with emotion, family drama, and powerful comebacks, please subscribe, like, and share." The voice on the recording was soft but venomous. Dayo heard his wife, Sade Adebayo, plotting with a man whose name made his stomach twist, Kola. They spoke of lies, of schemes, of taking everything he had built. Dayo's hands shook, but Toby's grip steadied him. He could feel her heartbeat matching his, fast and terrified. The air between them was thick with unspoken danger. His mind flashed to childhood lessons from Mama Eniola, who had raised him with patience and honesty. He had believed in loyalty, in love. And yet, the room whispered betrayal in every syllable. He stepped closer to the stairs, every creak echoing like a gunshot. Every instinct screamed confrontation, but a deeper, colder part of him held back. He had choices to make, but not yet. Not while the enemy was unaware he knew. Silence answered. He realized, with a sinking weight, that nothing in this mansion, or in his life, would ever be the same. Dayo didn't speak. He didn't move. He stayed frozen in the shadows of the staircase landing, listening as Sade and Kola plotted. Earlier that morning, he had thought to surprise Sade with a quiet breakfast, flowers, maybe a weekend escape. He had pictured smiles, laughter, the simple love he'd believed in for years. But now, that illusion lay shattered. Toby had been careful. Every late-night visit, every hushed argument, every suspicious smile, it had all been recorded. And now, with the phone pressed into his hand, Dayo held the proof of deception, betrayal so intimate it felt like a knife twisting in his chest. He swallowed hard, forcing his pulse to slow. Every instinct screamed confrontation, but he knew better. Haste would ruin everything. He moved quietly to his study later that day, a room untouched for weeks, and began to act. He instructed Toby to hide the device, to keep her schedule normal, to make nothing seem out of place. Dayo transferred funds discreetly, set up a new account under a pseudonym, and contacted Barrister Afani's, the lawyer who had handled his mother's estate, without revealing his identity. All the while, Sade and Kola continued their games. They believed Dayo clueless, distracted, and powerless. But Dayo's silence was a weapon. Toby almost slipped one evening. Kola nearly caught her checking the hidden phone in the pantry. The tension was unbearable. Each night, the mansion seemed smaller, the walls pressing in with whispers of danger and deceit. Dayo sat alone on the balcony, watching the city lights. He thought of Mama Eniola's lessons about patience and strategy. He thought of the boy who had once been poor, learning to survive in a world that respected only cunning. "Patience," he whispered to the night. "Patience will pay." But with each passing hour, the stakes rose. Sade had begun planting seeds of lies elsewhere, fabricating minor stories to test reactions, probing for weakness. And Kola, he was reckless, greedy, convinced Dayo would never see through the charm. Dayo's hands clenched. Every word they spoke now carried potential ruin, but he remained calm. Every choice he made pulled the threads of their plan tighter, ready to unravel it at the perfect moment. And in that quiet, controlled rage, he realized the mansion would not remain a home for long. It had become a battlefield, and he was no longer a passive player. The bedroom door creaked open, a whisper against the tense silence of the mansion. Dayo's hand hovered over the doorknob, heart hammering, every nerve screaming that one wrong move would betray him. Inside, Sade and Kola laughed softly, plotting their next move. Their voices were low, venomous, filled with the greed that had poisoned years of marriage. Dayo pressed the phone closer to his ear, absorbing every word. Half of his fortune, and he'll never see it coming, Sade whispered, the thrill of betrayal sharp in her tone. Dayo's hands clenched around the device. Each syllable sliced through him. Each plan they shared an echo of the life he thought he had. Toby's presence behind him was a quiet anchor, her fingers lightly brushing his arm. One misstep, one misheard noise, one glance. Everything could collapse. And yet, in that moment, Dayo made a choice. He would not confront them, not yet. Confrontation would be too loud, too fast. Instead, he would wield silence like a blade, letting them weave their trap while he set the snare. He began to move swiftly and quietly. Transfers, accounts, legal shields, all arranged under aliases. Barrister Afani Ease, a man loyal to truth and justice, was now secretly in the game. Every move Dayo made was deliberate, calculated, and invisible. But Sade and Kola were reckless. Their confidence grew as they believed Dayo oblivious, and that arrogance became their undoing. They plotted louder, their whispers drifting like smoke through the mansion. Dayo felt the power shift in his chest. Every deceitful laugh, every sly glance, fueled a controlled fury. He had watched, waited, and prepared. Now the final act was near. And then, the moment of no return arrived. Sade and Kola planned to stage a false accusation, to drag Dayo into scandal and shame. Dayo could intervene subtly, exposing them at the perfect time, or he could act now, using the recordings to crush them completely. He chose the latter. There was no turning back. Every file, every conversation, every secret plotted against him would now serve justice. But the price would be exacting. Relationships, trust, even the illusion of love. Everything would burn before the truth stood tall. Dayo exhaled. He had crossed the line. There would be no going back. Silence was no longer patience. It was a weapon, sharpened to perfection. And the mansion, once a home, had become a battlefield where only one future would survive. The press room was silent. Dayo stood at the podium, calm, collected, every inch the billionaire the world thought he was. Behind him, Toby held the recordings, the evidence of years of lies, whispers, and betrayal. Sade and Kola sat in the front row, faces pale, confident masks crumbling. They had expected a public scandal, accusations flying, but not this. Dayo's voice carried across the room. These recordings show exactly what has been happening behind closed doors. The playback began. Sade's plotting, Kola's schemes, their plans to destroy his reputation and fortune, all laid bare. Gasps echoed. Phones captured every reaction. The room froze. Police officers moved quietly. No fanfare. Justice was precise, surgical. Sade and Kola were escorted away, their schemes unraveling in real time. Dayo exhaled. Relief? Yes, but it was tempered. The victory had a cost. Trust had been shattered beyond repair. The home that had once held warmth now felt empty, echoes of laughter replaced by silence. Toby approached. No words were needed. Her loyalty, courage, and wisdom had saved more than money. She had saved him. Dayo rewarded her, not with pity, but respect. He sponsored her education, launched a foundation, stay quiet, stay wise. A reminder that silence, wielded with care, could be power. At Mama Eniola's grave later, Dayo knelt. He thought of his childhood, of lessons learned in humility and patience. He had been betrayed, he had been broken, but he was not defeated. The mansion, the wealth, the victories, they were hollow without trust. But Dayo had something stronger now, clarity, foresight, and a quiet strength that no deceit could touch. As the sun set over the city, he whispered to the wind, I am free, but I will never forget. This one stayed with me. If it stayed with you too, subscribe, and tell me, where are you watching from?